I'm back. I don't know how long for. I don't know why. I enjoy talking to myself on the internet. Clearly I do. So yeah, I thought I'd come back for a little bit. So this is going to be the first vlog. Not sure how interesting it's going to be. I've got a massively interesting week planned this week. Today I haven't filmed much because it's been a very doing kind of day, and it's been kind of like activities where you can't film anyway. This morning we went to soft play with one of Jake's little friends, which was lovely. He's getting really independent now, so he'll go into soft play when he's with a friend on his own, so I can sit back and have a coffee, which is quite nice. Not as I mind going in with him, it's quite fun sometimes, but it is nice to have that break every now and then too. We came home, had lunch, and then we headed out to kind of a new toddler class type thing that we were trying. If you've seen my previous vlogs, you'll know we've had some issues getting Jake to settle into kind of some toddler classes, but this one was a really small, intimate group. About, I think there was only 4 of the children there today, and I think there was 2 missing from the class, so it's not a very big class anyway. He really enjoyed it, had lots of confidence. He was going up to the lady, he was running the class, so I think we're going to sign up for that, which is great. Then we had an appointment to go to, so we got all that sorted, and then tea, and then I need to try and get the place back to how it should, how I would like it to be. I don't know, your house just kind of goes a bit crazy over half term, doesn't it? And I wasn't very well, as you can probably tell, because I still sound a bit husky. So it kind of like doubly went a bit to pot. So I just need to start doing a bit of a house reset, which I think I'm going to film and do like a little speedy up, clean and tidy with me house reset after half term type video. But I need to get cracking with that. I've just been logged on for work. The life of a social media bod means that you have to log on sometimes even when you're not working, not due to work, not scheduled to work, just because you need to see what people are saying, you need to respond to things, you need to post things that not everything can be scheduled in advance. There's certain things you need to post, so I've just done that. Yeah, we need to get cracking on making this place look a little bit more to my standard. I'm not going to say presentable because that's different for everybody, but to my standard. So yeah, wearing my 20-year-old fleece again because it's cold and it's cozy. I don't care. Hello on Wednesday. I'm just kind of getting ready for the day, part 2. I've been up since about 6:30, and I did get ready this morning. Got dressed, obviously, and had a shower, washed my hair, put a little bit of makeup on, but that was literally just enough to get me through the school run. I let my hair dry naturally. I'd like to say because I'm trying to improve the health of my hair, but in reality, I just ran out of time to dry it. And because I work from home, and because I don't generally have any online meetings on a Wednesday morning because all my colleagues are on a different time zone, I just put it back in my little clip and let it dry naturally. But I have a lot of hair, so even, see, I washed it about 7 o'clock and it's now like 11 o'clock. It still needed a quick blast with the hairdryer just to finish it off, just kind of like the bit where it's around my collar was still a little bit wet. I haven't got like thick hair. The individual strands themselves are actually quite thin. I've just got a lot of hair, just a lot of strands of hair. Oh, where's my parting? I'm still kind of doing centre, but I don't actually know whether it suits me. I've got an appointment to get my hair done soon. It's quite badly needed. Me trying to hold out to sort of near my birthday. Hair appointments, especially when you have your hair coloured, aren't cheap, are they? So I tend to find if there's an occasion like your birthday or Christmas or a party or a wedding, you find it easier to kind of like justify that expense. So I'm trying to get my hair done more regularly to avoid situations like these lovely roots. But at the same time, if I can try and tie those hair appointments in to an occasion or an event just to justify the cost a bit more, then I'm definitely going to be doing that because it makes sense to me. So yesterday I didn't really pick up the camera, I don't think. I worked yesterday and it was a really good day. Got lots done, had a great meeting with my manager, so it was all good, very productive, but just not that interesting to film me typing away on a keyboard, which I do a lot more than that, but all I could potentially show you would be me typing away on a keyboard, which, you know, is not that interesting. Yesterday evening I did a load of admin. Did not know children would come with so much admin, and just life comes with so much admin as well, doesn't it? So I got paid yesterday, woohoo, always good. I'd kind of, because February's such a short month, I'd kind of not forgotten I was going to get paid, because that makes me sound really bougie, but like it didn't feel like it was the end of the month because it came around so quickly in terms of time. So it was kind of like, oh, I've been paid. Oh yeah, it's March tomorrow. So that was quite nice. So once we've been paid, it's a case of putting everything in little pots to pay. We kind of like stash money up, so when the gas and electricity bill comes and like the TV license and whatnot, we've got the money stashed away ready to pay it. So we find that works well for us. And then just like paying monthly bills, making sure there's enough to pay off the credit card, making sure there's enough in the accounts for everything that's coming out and that kind of jazz. So I did all that yesterday. Got my hands, I've got Reynolds, and they've got a lovely purpley, blue, pinky colour, and there's no blood in those fingers. Reynolds is such fun. So yeah, I did that, and then I booked Jake on to his new class that we're going to be doing on a Monday. Booked into like things like parents' evening and stuff. Yeah. I don't know why, but I find all that admin stuff quite stressful, and I think it's just because there's so much of it, and I think I just put undue pressure on myself. I don't know why. Don't know. I just feel quite anxious when I'm doing it. Very, very weird feeling. So I did all that, and then read a really old copy of Grazia magazine. It's about a year old. No, probably not a year old. I think it was maybe from September last year, I think. But I'm terrible for buying magazines and then just not getting around to reading them. And I have a pile down the side of my bed, and I've vowed that I'm not going to read another book until I've actually got through those magazines, because it's getting a bit silly. Actually, I think that magazine may have been from prior to September, because I think it mentioned the Queen as if she was still alive, and it mentioned, just got to look in this mirror, it mentioned like when Charles would come into post as king, as if it wasn't a thing. So it must be older than that. Anyway, so yeah, my goal this year is to read 12 books, so a book every month, and I've already read 4 books, and it's only the 1st of March. So I have a little bit of leeway to not read so many books and to concentrate a little bit on getting those magazines out the way. I'd like to buy the occasional magazine and newspaper, but I'd like to literally buy one and read it and not allow myself to buy another one until I've read it, because yeah, they're expensive. Everything's blooming expensive, isn't it? But I do like, one, I like to support printed media because it's dying. It just gives you a different experience than trying to read something on screen. You're more likely to go a bit more in depth, I think, and read things you perhaps wouldn't click on the computer screen, so it challenges you a bit more. Now, certainly with like the Sunday papers with the supplements and stuff, I'll read like in-depth articles about things that are happening in different countries that I would never click on if I was looking online. So I think it's nice to kind of have that mixture of analog and digital. I've just been listening to, I'm just going to look in this mirror because I can't tell. I mean, I can't see anyway. I've taken my glasses off, so doing makeup with no glasses on is always interesting. That'll do. Who knows? I was listening to The Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett podcast while I was working today. I'm in the house on my own when I work on a Wednesday, and it gets a little bit quiet when I'm doing like design work. I can't listen to podcasts when I'm writing because I can't have like words going on and trying to type words and think of words. But when I'm doing like my Photoshop parts of my job, I quite like a podcast on in the background. I've got a very active brain, and I don't know if that's like trauma processing, that my brain doesn't like to sit still because then I can think about nasty things, or I don't like to use the phrase I'm a bit ADHD because that's a bit like someone saying I'm a bit OCD, but I do see some of the traits of ADHD and like go, yeah, I've got some of those, but not all of them. So I don't know. It doesn't really make any difference. I am who I am. So I like having something in the background. It helps me to concentrate. Might not be for everybody. Anyway, I was listening to The Diary of a CEO, and it was a Rich Hammond interview. And I like Rich Hammond. I kind of like all the Top Gear presenters in their own way, even though Jeremy Clarkson has been a complete buffoon recently, which I think is a shame because I don't necessarily think that's the person that he is. I mean, he is a buffoon, but like I do think there's a kindness to him as well. But I just don't think that comes across a lot of the time. So yeah, obviously Richard Hammond is kind of like old school media, and he was talking a lot about like the differences in technology and different things like that. Now I did a journalism degree back in, I started in 1999, graduated in 2002. No, 2002. It was 2022. That's like a few years ago. 2002. So I'm not as analog as he was, but I certainly, you know, it was not the digital world then or whatsoever. I don't think even a podcast existed. Certainly none of the social media channels did. I remember learning about making websites, and it was just so basic but complicated at the same time. Just to create a button would take about 10 different stages. I just couldn't get my head around it at all. But he was talking a bit about like the opportunities in the media and like how he's been lucky and fortunate and things like that. And it did kind of make me think we don't live in that kind of antiquated world now where you need so much equipment to do things. You know, I'm doing this on my phone at the minute while I'm doing my makeup. That wouldn't have existed back when I was a journalism student. Now I wanted to be a journalist. Kind of glad I didn't go that route now, to be honest, because I don't think journalism is in the best state with all the clickbait rubbish. It's just a bit crappy, isn't it? I mean, our local newspaper, I did work experience there a long time ago for a short while. And back in the day, I remember going for like an interview for work experience, and I'd put an apostrophe in the wrong place on my CV. I'm still not great with apostrophes, I'll be honest. I'm a creative writer, sometimes more so than an accurate one. And then picking up on it and going, what's this apostrophe doing here? Now, the amount of typos I see in our local newspaper, and like really bad ones, like local street names completely wrong. Like it'll be something street and they'll put something road. It's awful. So just stuff like that and all the clickbait rubbish. It's, you know, it's just awful. Not as it journalism has ever been particularly strong in this country with, you know, the tabloids and whatnot. But yeah, but that's made me think we're so fortunate that we can create things from our own environment. Back in the day when I wanted to be a journalist or work in the media or whatever, I couldn't do it because the only way you could do it back in the day was if you live close to London and you could have a part-time job pretty much while you worked for free for probably about a year in a magazine or at like a studio or something like that, a very junior role. That was one route in, which I do not live near London and I could not afford to have a year of unpaid work. I did lots of work experience. I didn't have huge amounts of confidence then, so that would have gone against me a little bit, but I also didn't have like either parents to bankroll me to be able to work for free or the ability to live near enough to London to have another job and work for free at the same time. And you just sort of think it was a different world, but it was so, you know, you can see why we've got them the older media people that we've got that tend to come from moneyed backgrounds, because it just wasn't a profession that could be entered if you were from kind of a working class or of little means background, generally speaking. So yeah, so I just think it's really good that like the internet and smartphones and whatnot have just made things accessible for people, for normal people to create. And that's why I like doing my job as well, because my job is kind of like content creation. So I get to use those media skills in a different way that means I don't have to, one, live in London, which I did do for a while in the end, blaming expensive, worth the experience. And I don't have to kind of work for free and, you know, I'm not an outsider. So yeah, it just got me thinking. Worth a listen if you are interested in anything. He talks about his crash. He talks about kind of how that shaped the way he thinks about life and death. A lot about media stuff in his career. It was really interesting. It was really good. Finished work for the day now. Well, I'll log back on again this evening because I did work on the evening to be on US time as well for some meetings, although I don't have any meetings tonight. And now I've got to run some errands. So I've put on a face of slap to go and take some stuff to the charity shop and get some bits from Wilko, which you might say, why bother to put that on just to do those errands? But I think we've all got our own way that we want to present ourselves to the world. And, you know, although that's not always possible because we're in a rush to do the school run or, you know, whatever, I think we feel better if we present ourselves in the way that we want to. So that's why I've done that. So now I'm going to stop waffling because I actually want to go and get some stuff done. And I'll check in a little bit, maybe. Just parked up, just about to take the stuff to charity. I had to take it today when both boys are at nursery and school because there's small toys in there. And I knew if they saw them, they would freak out and go, no. And I've got to be honest, I'm not great at getting rid of old toys or getting rid of anything either. I still kind of come from a little place of lack, where I kind of hark back to when I was younger and didn't have much money. And I kind of fear that if I get rid of something, what if I need it in the future and I can't afford to replace it? And I know I need to stop doing that because, one, I can afford to replace it because I have more. I'm lucky at the moment because obviously the cost of living crisis, that I do have more income at the moment, and I'm creating that kind of like fallback nest egg, and a lot of the stuff I don't need to keep anyway. So just wanted to say that in case other people struggle with that. It can be quite liberating and helps you to grow if you do get rid of stuff, if you do struggle with it. I'm back from my little expedition. Took my stuff to the charity shop, took it to Scope because I used to have a sister that had cerebral palsy, and Scope is the charity that helps people with that. So that tends to be my charity shop of choice. Yeah, and I think it's one that tends to get forgotten about. I think people, when they think of charity, locally we've got one kind of like massive hospice that I think people think of first. Then I think people think of things like Oxfam, and I think sometimes the smaller charity shops and charities like Scope and things get forgotten about. So I like to share the love a little bit. I have purchased, excuse my arm, I can't figure out how to get it out of shot. I've purchased the most random assortment of things, all from Wilkinson. I tend to go to Home Bargains, but you forget how good Wilkinson is. So I will show you. I have no idea if you're interested, but I will show you. Elliot, we sorted out his room over half term. I think it was on Thursday. And one thing he said he would like in there is a little bin, because he tends to like scribble on bits of paper and then not necessarily need them anymore, but then they just end up residing on his desk rather than him throwing them away. So he said he wanted a small bin. So I'm hoping this is going to fit under his desk. It didn't look that big in the shop, but it looks quite big. I've got it home, as things always do. This is actually supposed to be a recycling bin. So you can sort things out into different types. It's a 10 litre one, swing and lift, so it's got a little lid that goes on it too, which I'm not sure whether I'll bother with or not, but it's nice to have it just in case we do want that. So that'll go in his room. And then, yeah, I know I'm obsessed with bins, but we're actually going to use this for storage. We've got loads of bath toys, and at the moment they're shoved into a cupboard, which makes them hard to get to. And we also want to use that cupboard space for something else. So I got this kind of like woven waste basket made from plastic to store them in, and they can sit by the side of the bath so we can get to them more easily and they get played with. And yeah, it'll hopefully be a better solution. That was £5. I think the little bin was £5.50. Then I got some parcel paper because I'm selling loads of stuff at the moment, and I like using parcel paper and then just like leftover packaging from parcels that I've received, just because it's quite environmentally friendly. And it means like if you get those postage bags, they're not always the right size for what you want to send, whereas that you can just make it the right size regardless of what you're sending. I got some command hooks because Elliot has some medals that we want to hang in his room. So we're going to put those on the side of his wardrobe so we can hang those. I got some night cream. I went for L'Oreal Revitalift. I did buy some night cream from Lidl because I wanted to be like, oh, I'm going to buy something that's like a dupe and it's going to be amazing. And I've tried it for about 3 days and my skin is so dry. So I think I just need to, you know, it's the old thing, innit? Buy cheap, buy twice. So I bought that. Same goes for day cream. I bought a Sainsbury's one, which previously, when my skin was different, it was fine and kind of moisturised okay. But I just don't think it's got the moisture factor that I need anymore. Now I'm getting a little bit older. Or it could also be because my night cream's not very good. So maybe if I use a better night cream, I'll be able to get away with that day cream. But I also bought the L'Oreal Revitalift day cream with SPF 30 in as well. I got some lady products, which I'm not embarrassed about, but I'm sure you don't really need to see. I got a new deodorant. These are always wrapped in cardboard boxes, and this is wrapped in plastic. And I have no idea where that would be. It's really weird. Yeah, a bit peculiar. That's my receipt. Here we go. Ooh. A garlic press, because Mr. H managed to break ours yesterday. Apparently there was a particularly stubborn piece of garlic that did not want to squish, so he used all of his strength, which is a lot of strength, and broke the garlic press. And we do quite a lot of garlic, so I thought I'd replace that pronto. And then some razor blades, which are stupidly and annoyingly expensive, but I don't really like to be a fuzzy bear. It's just not my favourite thing. It's fine for you if that's what you want. No shade. I just don't like being hairy very much. So yeah, what a random assortment of stuff. That was so quick as well. I forget that when I don't have the kids with me, how quickly I can get around the shops and do things. So I've got a bit of time now. So I'm going to catch up on some jobs, which is good because I need that time. So I'm going to leave you be and get on with stuff. This gives you an idea as to how my brain works or doesn't work sometimes. I've just taken that little, well, that's quite big, bin basket thing upstairs to put the toys in for the bath toys in the bathroom, as I just spoke about, from my little Wilko haul. This is the old basket that had them in the cupboard. As you can see, it's a lot smaller, so they were very cramped in there. I thought I'd give it a wash out, and I thought I'd do that age-old thing where you don't actually take responsibility for it in the moment, you just put it in the sink and leave it to soak. So I thought, oh, I'll put a little bit of dish soap in it, and I'll fill it with some hot water and leave it soak for a little bit. There are holes at the bottom, Sammy. That's never going to fill. Oh my gosh, I do worry myself sometimes. Just made a reel. Haven't done that for a while. Not like a personal one anyway. I make reels for work, but they don't feature me. They feature people that use our products. That's a little bit different. So yeah, just made a bit of a comedy reel for World Book Day, which for everybody else in the world, or most people in the world, will be tomorrow. But our school does it on Friday for some reason, which just makes you kind of paranoid. You see all the other kids going to school in their World Book Day costumes on Thursday, and you know that ours isn't until Friday, but even so, you start to go, have I made a mistake? Have I got this wrong? So yes, so it'll be live on Instagram by the time that this goes live. So go and take a look and see if you agree. I don't actually mind World Book Day. I mean, I've always been partial to a bit of fancy dress, which makes you sound a bit kinky, and I don't mean it to sound kinky. So I don't mind it really. But it's kind of like the oddest. I don't mind the dressing up, but to be fair, Elliot's costume this year is going to be pretty cool. So it's part bought and part homemade. But it is also a lot of pressure on parents, and I know, you know, you can make things, but I don't know many people that have just got stuff knocking around the house, that they can just whip up a book day costume out of that easily. Even if, you know, you took a t-shirt and drew on it, you've still probably got to get pens that will draw on the t-shirt, or, you know, have you got that spare t-shirt that you can draw on? There is a certain expectation that you've got the time and the money and the wherewithal to kind of, you know, have these resources and time available, which not everybody has. So yeah, and then it's the weird things, like we don't have to, but there's a competition to decorate a potato as a book character, which we participate in, and we have been pretty successful in previous years. I think we've won our year group 2 years. So yeah, skills to pay the bills, or skills to win a book on World Book Day at least. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. I thought we'd start it tonight, and then at least we've got tomorrow to finish it off if we've not quite finished it. Yeah, take a look at the reel and let me know if it feels familiar, if it feels how you feel about World Book Day. It is now sometime later. The potato is done. I will show you before we hand it in. Wasn't too bad actually. I think Elliot was quite tired, so we didn't want to join in that much, but we got there in the end. A bit of perseverance, a few mini eggs, and we got there. Burnt my finger on the hot glue gun a few times, but it was worth it, you know, no pain, no gain. I think that hot glue gun is possibly one of the best things that I have actually purchased since being a parent, because there are so many times when I've used it for making Easter bonnets, for making potatoes, for World Book Day, you name it, it comes out. I actually have only got one glue stick left for it, so I need to get another one. And now I'm just logging on for work. I do enjoy my job, but you know, sometimes like you have just used up a lot of energy during the day and to log on again on the evening. It's kind of like I need to give myself a bit of a talking to get myself into it. Once I get going, I'll be fine. But yeah, I'm going to crack on with my emails. It's Thursday. Happy World Book Day. What have I come upstairs for? I've just dropped Elliot off at school. He has World Book Day tomorrow instead. Pink nose from the cold weather. It's gone cold again. Jakey's gone to nursery dressed as the Gruffalo. I'm not sure if they're doing anything for World Book Day at nursery. We haven't kind of had, I don't know where to put you, we haven't kind of had a notification say that they are. I'd imagine they're doing it kind of as an optional thing because cost of living crisis and stuff. He's taken a book with him because they did say, oh, to take one of their favourite books. But he's also worn a Gruffalo costume, which is one of Elliot's old costumes. Can't find the towel for it, but that will do. Yeah, and I've got an appointment at the spa now for an eyebrow sort out and a back massage because I'm trying to take better care of myself. Last time I had a morning appointment at the spa after dropping Elliot off at school, it was a bit of a rush because Elliot didn't want to put his shoes on. So, and then I had to scrape the car. So I'm hoping it's not so much of a rush today, but that's why I'm racing around. And I'm going to go and get there now. I made it in time, and I even had time to sit in the car a little bit and take a cheeky selfie and also put my World Book Day reel live. Where's my voice going? Also, isn't it a flattering angle? I haven't got much makeup on because I'm having an eyebrow treatment, so I don't have that much makeup on. Yeah, it's a very flattering angle. So I'm going to go and get pampered. I have been pummeled. And I do mean pummeled because I have a deep tissue massage. Yeah, there's still loads of tension in my shoulders and apparently loads in my hips as well. So yeah, she's recommended that I come more regularly, which obviously they're going to because they want the money, but also I know it just makes sense. I think I've kind of dealt with the, well, not dealt with, I think I can deal with, I think I have the tools to deal with the psychological manifestations of trauma, but I think the physiological manifestations of trauma, i.e. hunched shoulders and lots of tension in my back, need need a little bit of help to be shown the door. So I've booked in again for the start of May. To try and get rid of that, because I do feel so much better once I've had it done. It hurts because like deep tissue is quite brutal. But yeah, everything just moves a little bit more easily, which is nice. So now it's back to reality for a bit. Just put some washing on. I've had my eyebrows done as well. I'm not brave enough to microblade, so I just get them tinted and shaped. And I don't know what I'm going to do next, just something off my to-do list. Hello on Friday. I made it through World Book Day morning. I have such a love-hate relationship with World Book Day. I love books. I love how excited like the kids get for it, like seeing Elliot rock up to school with his big Joe Wicks wig on. That's who we went as, by the way. I'll put some photos in so you can see. He wanted to be Joe Wicks because he loves doing his workouts, and he knows he wrote the Burpee Bears, and obviously he does his cookbooks as well. So that's who he decided to be, with like a massive wig and a moustache and a beard, and then he's like peak it on. So I love how excited they get, and it's so much fun seeing them that way. But like this morning I had to make sure he had his money for Friday treat, his swimming clothes, his lunch, obviously his water, his reading book, his reading diary, his potato for the World Book Day potato competition, and then all of his outfit on. And then some baby wipes because he's got swimming, and I'm not sure if we'll need to wipe, like I've drawn the moustache on. I'm not sure if we'll need to wipe that off before he goes into the swimming pool. So it's just a lot. And then obviously Jakey wanted to join in, even though he had his World Book Day yesterday at nursery.